Hello and welcome to this presentation delivered on behalf of the National Apprenticeship Service. My name is Matt and I'm going to take you through an overview of what apprenticeships are today. An apprenticeship is a job, so it enables you to gain work experience, but it's also a qualification. So you'll be studying towards a qualification as well, and that qualification is relevant to the job that you're doing. You work 80% of the time and you study 20% of the time. When we're talking about a job, this is a real job with a real employer. This isn't a practice job at the back of the college. This isn't a couple of weeks work experience. This is a real business that's trying to make a profit or provide a service to the local community like a school or a hospital. And the apprentice is a fully fledged member of staff at that business. So they get a contract of employment and crucially, they get paid as well. When we're talking about salaries, there is a minimum salary for an apprentice of £4.15, 4.15 per hour. That doesn't mean that if you do an apprenticeship, that's how much you'll get paid. It's there to protect the apprentice from getting paid any less than that. I've got some real examples later on to show you of real apprenticeship vacancies where the salaries are higher. Apprenticeships are for everyone. So you could choose to use, at the end of year 11, you could choose to move into an apprenticeship instead of going to college. Or you may wish to go to college after year 11 for a couple of years and then consider an apprenticeship as an alternative to university. And in fact, you can take up an apprenticeship at any point in your life once you've finished year 11. So you could do an apprenticeship in your 30s, 40s and 50s if you wished. In all cases, there are no fees to pay on an apprenticeship. So, as I touched on before, you're going to be working 80% of the time and studying 20% of the time. Now, you'll be spending most of your time in the workplace, so the employer is there to support you. They know that it's probably going to be your first time full-time job and you're not an expert in that particular apprenticeship when you start with them. So the tasks and activities that you're given are going to be fairly straightforward to start with. But shortly after, as time progresses, you're going to be given more responsibility, more complex tasks and activities in the workplace. You're going to be able to develop your technical skills, develop some of those softer skills like your time management and team working and resilience, things like that. And that slowly builds up your work experience throughout the length of your apprenticeship. What employees can't do is they're not teachers, they're not trainers, they haven't got the skills and expertise to deliver the teaching that you need to gain your apprenticeship qualification. So we need an apprenticeship training provider. Now that could be a local college, so Tameside College and Stockport College are both apprenticeship training providers alongside the full-time courses that they deliver. It could be what we call an independent training provider who specialises in just apprenticeship. So for example, you've got CETA in Stockport who specialise in engineering apprenticeships, or DAMA are also in Stockport who specialise in accountancy and legal and business apprenticeships. And now it can also be a university. So in Greater Manchester we have Manchester Metropolitan University, University of Bolton and University of Salford, who all deliver degree apprenticeships alongside their full-time degree options. Whoever that training provider is, it's their role, it's their responsibility to ensure that you achieve the apprenticeship qualification. And that teaching and learning can be delivered in a number of different ways, and these are the most common too. Firstly, classroom learning. So this is where you'll go to work 4 days a week and attend the training provider 1 day a week. What you'll find on the 1 day a week at a training provider is you're mixing classroom learning with other apprentices from lots of different employers doing the same apprenticeship as you. The other common way is what we call workplace learning, where someone from the training provider comes into your workplace and delivers training on a one-to-one basis. You might find that happens in your meeting room or at your desk. Most training providers aren't in a position to be able to send out one person every week to every single apprentice that they work with. So the workplace learning is normally blended with online learning as well. I'll give you a real example. We have an apprentice who works for us. We're a team of 6. One of us is an apprentice, and her training provider, DAMA, in fact, comes out one Friday in every 4 and delivers that training on a one-to-one basis using our meeting room. On the other 3 Fridays, she does her online learning that's been set by the training provider. So Monday to Thursday, she works for us. Fridays is set aside for her to do her apprenticeship, either with a training provider in the office or doing some online learning. There are over 500 different types of apprenticeships out there, so these 15 examples barely do it justice. All those traditional apprenticeships that you may think of when you hear the word apprenticeship, so engineering jobs, construction trades, horticulture, hairdressing, childcare, motor vehicle, those jobs all still exist. They're well-established routes into long and fulfilling careers, so there was no need to change those. What has happened recently is the qualifications have been updated to reflect modern working practices so that they're fit for purpose. What you've also added more recently are jobs that you might have needed a professional qualification for, so accountancy is a good example of that. Also jobs that perhaps didn't have a qualification related to them whatsoever, so things like perhaps project management or business administration or digital marketing, something like that. And what we've also got now is a growth in degree apprenticeships to enable people to reach jobs via the apprenticeship route you had to go and do a full-time degree for in the past. So we have solicitor degree apprenticeships, we have surveying degree apprenticeships, civil engineering degree apprenticeships, and many, many more. These logos represent some of the very large employers who recruit apprentices from across the Greater Manchester area. Some of these businesses lie just outside, so for example AstraZeneca are based down in Macclesfield, but they recruit apprentices from Tameside, Stockport, Trafford and other areas across Greater Manchester. These employers take on 40, 80, over 100 apprentices every year in some cases into multiple functions across their businesses. So for example, Network Rail, of course, they take on railway engineers to work on the tracks and the signals, etc. But they also take on people into their accounts team on accountancy apprenticeships because they have a finance team. For every one of these logos you recognise, there are hundreds of smaller businesses whose logos perhaps wouldn't recognise, so there's no point me showing them on this slide. But they will take on perhaps 1, 2, 5 apprentices every year. They might be smaller, they need to take on one every couple of years or so. But the apprenticeship qualification that you do is exactly the same, irrespective of the size of the business. So for example, if you did a customer service apprenticeship at Greater Manchester Police, which is one of the ones that they deliver, that would be exactly the same qualification as someone doing a customer service role at a GP practice, for example, around the corner from where you live. So irrespective of the size of the business, the qualification is exactly the same, but of course your work experience will be different. Apprenticeships come in different levels, from levels 2 to 7, and it's worth drawing a comparison between those levels of apprenticeships and academic qualifications that you're perhaps more familiar with. An intermediate apprenticeship, in terms of how challenging it is to achieve the qualification, is roughly equivalent to gaining 5 GCSEs at grade 4 and above. I'm sure you're studying towards more than that at the moment, but what I would say to you is you're not working 80% of the time while studying as well. So it's not an easy option, an intermediate apprenticeship, but it's your useful first stepping stone into apprenticeships and have been set up to enable year 11 students to move into those as an alternative to go to college. Advanced apprenticeships, level 3, they are equivalent to 2 A-level passes or a BTEC at level 3. And again, most of those have been designed to enable year 11 leaver to move straight into those. Because you'd naturally progress from a GCSE to an A-level, so you should be able to progress from GCSEs to advanced apprenticeships. Around 15 to 20% of them, though, are aimed at A-level leavers, and a lot of that comes down to employer choice. So a paralegal apprenticeship at level 3, for example, often requires A-levels or a BTEC in law to progress onto that, and that's because the employers in the legal sector, that's the minimum requirement they want to move into that particular apprenticeship. Higher apprenticeships operate from level 4 to 7. So level 4 is higher national certificate, level 5 is higher national diploma, level 6 is degree level, level 7 is master's level. We also have degree apprenticeships at level 6 and 7 as well. And to try and avoid any confusion, the difference between a degree apprenticeship at level 6 and a higher apprenticeship at level 6 is that the qualification on a degree apprenticeship is a degree delivered by a university. The qualification on a higher apprenticeship at level 6 is equivalent to a degree, but not actually a degree. Brings me nicely onto degree apprenticeships, and these have been around for about 5 or 6 years now. I think there's nearly 100 universities in England who deliver these degree apprenticeships. They are a part-time apprenticeship option, and they work exactly the same as all other apprenticeships. You work 80% of the time and you study 20% of the time. They have some financial advantages. First of all, starting salaries in Greater Manchester for degree apprentices tend to be between about £14,000 and £16,000. Obviously, some lower than that, but also some quite a lot higher than that. The second financial benefit is you don't pay any university tuition fees on a degree apprenticeship. The employer pays those for you. They take a little bit longer, take between 4 and 6 years. That's because a full-time degree would take 3 years. So no one expects you to be working 80% of the time and studying towards a degree in 3 years. You wouldn't have enough time. Therefore, they take between 4 and 6 years. Now, that might seem like a very long time if you're in year 10 or year 11 at the moment. However, what I would say is, for that period of time of your apprenticeship, you have some job security, you have a job. Secondly, you're gaining all that work experience over that period of time, developing all those technical skills, gaining promotions and the company's the salary pay rises that come with that as well. Also time studying towards a degree simultaneously that you're not paying for. You can use all the university facilities that a full-time student can. You have all the NUS benefits, the National Union of Student benefits that full-time students have. You can go to the same graduation ceremonies when you've completed your degree apprenticeship. But best of all, if I'm the employer that's paid for your degree, paid for your salary, and invested time supporting you in the workplace to develop you, then I'm not going to want to get to interview at the end of that degree apprenticeship. I'm going to want to retain you and move you into a full-time permanent role. So I'll never say you're guaranteed to have a job at the end of an apprenticeship, but with a degree apprenticeship, you're highly likely to be moving into a full-time role at the end of it. In terms of looking for opportunities, there's a couple of starting points. The vacancy snapshot on the Amazing Apprenticeships website lists some of the very large employers who recruit apprentices, and it'll tell you when their recruitment process is open and closed. It's not like applying for college where you have a period of time just before, during the autumn, where colleges will accept applications. Some employers on apprenticeships will have an autumn application period, some will have it in the spring, some will have it in the early summer. It's completely down to the employer and there's no one size fits all there. The other place to look is the government's Find an Apprenticeship website. This is a live apprenticeship vacancy website. So if we look on there right now, we'll find vacancies to start in November, December. What you can do is you can register on there. You can add in your home postcode, decide how far you'd like to travel to work, decide what type of job you'd like to do. If you don't know, you can leave that section blank and it will fill out all the live vacancies that are available at the moment. Now, of course, you won't be able to start any of those. However, each vacancy will tell you who the apprenticeship training provider is. So what you could do is contact the training provider to let them know that you're looking to start an apprenticeship once you've finished year 11, and they'll then help you find opportunities throughout the year. I had a little look earlier in preparation for this presentation. We found that there's 7,000 live vacancies in England at the moment. That number is about 40 to 45% of where I would expect it to be in a normal year. So the COVID-19 pandemic has reduced the total number of vacancies at any one time. However, back in August on results day, when I was looking at similar figures, the number of vacancies was around 20 to 25% of where I would normally have expected it to be. So we have seen the vacancies bounce back. I also put in the school's postcode just to see how many vacancies there were in the local area. Clearly, there's not many within 5 miles of the school, less than 40. But once you're prepared to go a little bit further, to travel to Manchester Airport, to Manchester City Centre, to Trafford Park, you'll find there's a lot more opportunities available to you. So clearly 463 within 20 miles. And I also had a look at some of the different opportunities that were out there. The two at the bottom, the higher end degree apprenticeship, they were within 20 miles and they're actually aimed at people who've left college already. The top three were aimed at people who've left year 11. So someone that left year 11 last year from school could apply to those. So what you've got there is you've got a customer service role at a clothing company. That's a 12-month apprenticeship, £9,000 starting salary, opportunity to progress beyond that. An engineering apprenticeship, the welder fabricator apprenticeship at a large firm in Ashton-under-Lyne. That's an 18-month apprenticeship, £10,000 starting salary, and again with an opportunity to progress onto the advanced apprenticeship and carry on working there once you finish that. A digital marketing job, this is just inside Manchester City Centre in the Northern Quarter. You can probably guess from the name of the company. That's a 15-month advanced apprenticeship, but they're also looking for someone with 5 GCSEs rather than requiring A-levels or a BTEC. So one of last year's school leavers could apply for that. Again, £10,000 starting salary. And with digital marketing, there's so many opportunities that once you've achieved that apprenticeship, you can stay with that employer or look for somewhere else to work because that's a growing area within Manchester. And then there's a cybersecurity technologist. This is a higher apprenticeship. Remember, that's level 4, HNC level, so one step above A levels. It's a £17,000 starting salary. So they are looking for someone that's left college already, But again, cybersecurity jobs, they're a growing area. More and more businesses are aware of the risks of cyber threats and are starting to recruit more people into those roles. And finally, a Chartered Surveyor degree apprenticeship. This is with a government department called the Cabinet Office. That's nearly a 5-year degree apprenticeship, and of course that's someone that's left college already who's doing that, but that's nearly a £21,000 starting salary with a progression to a full-time role at the end of it. So these are opportunities. I don't know what anybody's career aspirations are at the moment, and of course these particular specific vacancies perhaps won't be there when you're looking to progress into an apprenticeship, but they give you a good idea about the salaries and how long the apprenticeships last. If you're looking for further information, I would recommend looking at the Greater Manchester Apprenticeship Hub website. On there are case studies of real apprentices who sat in school just like yourself just a few years ago and have now progressed, and they'd like to share their positive experience of what the apprenticeship has done for them. If you have any questions, I'd always recommend contacting your school careers advisor or your careers lead in the first instance. If they can't answer your questions, they're welcome to send those questions across to me and I'll answer them for you. All right, thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.